In this video, I'm going to review how to take your lines in our previously drawn technical drawings. On this one, I'm going to show you how to take these lines and transfer them properly to a piece of metal or paper. In this instance, we're going to utilize paper as our stand-in piece of metal. It's a little bit easier, especially when you're at home, to be able to practice on this, and it's much cheaper and much more forgiving. So what we're going to do is we're going to be taking this drawing and ending up with something that looks like this. This is a transferred sheet metal layout, and this is also how our metal would look, except for instead of using pencil, we would be using what's called a scribe, which is a very sharp piece of metal that allows you to literally scratch lines into a piece of metal. So to start, we're going to need an 8.5 inch by 11 inch piece of paper, preferably some sort of blank paper, not lined, as we do want to make it as easy as possible. What we're going to do is we're going to be looking at our drawing, and we're going to pick a point. Now, here's our piece of paper, and I'm going to say that this corner right here is my square corner, because no matter what, before you do anything on metal, you would always square up your piece of sheet metal on a floor or jump shear. Since we already know that this piece of paper is square, 90 degrees, we're going to pick this corner. And we're going to say that that corner right here represents the corner where this hem and this hem meet. So that would be right here. The reason we do that is because then the edge of this hem and the edge of that hem is already on the edge of the paper / metal, depending on what you're working with, and it makes it a little bit less, a little more simplified, so that you don't have to worry about cutting any more than you really need to. So we're going to start there, and we're going to work on either our vertical lines or our horizontal lines, depending. So on this one, we're going to start with all of our vertical lines, which is measuring from one to the next to the next to the next, which is all of our main dimensions. So that's what we're going to be utilizing right now, is all of our main dimensions: 1/4 inch, 2 inch, 4 inch, 2 inch, 1/4 inch. And we're going to make this pretty simple, so that when we go through this, we don't have to worry too much or try and put in any extra degrees of error. So we're going to do all of those at once. So you're going to need to have your drawing with all of your dimensions, and then you're going to need your ruler and the paper. And we're going to start off with the left-hand side, which would be our left-hand hem right here. And we're just going to make it so that we can go through these dimensions. I'm going to measure that first 1/4 inch, make a mark. I'm not going to move the ruler, so I started that off at 1 3/4 against the edge of the paper, and then I measured at 2. That gives us our quarter. Then I need to measure 2 inches, so from 2 to 4, that's my next one. And then I need to measure 4 inches, so my next mark will be from 4 to 8. And then another 2 inches, which would bring me to 10, and then another 1/4 inch. So that was our 1/4, 2, 4, 2, 1/4. Now we have to do that same thing on the top piece of the paper. So you're going to go through, I'm going to move that out of the way, and I'm going to start up here again, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. Remember, we want our measurements to be as far away from each other as possible, so that we have the straightest line we possibly can create. So you're going to start over here, and I'm starting at the 1 3/4 inch mark, and I'm going to make a measurement at 2, and then at 4, and then at 8, and then at 10, and 1/4, because that gives me my 1/4 inch, then my 2 inches, and then 4 inches, 2 inches, and 1/4 inch. I'm going to go back, and I'm going to now create all the lines. Now these do not need to be guidelines, they don't need to be anything special. You can create single stroke object lines nice and easy so that you can see it. That's what you want. So you don't have to push super hard, but just make them, dark enough where you can easily see it and understand it. Once that is created, the next thing we're going to do is all of our horizontal lines. Now we're going to hold off on the tabs for a moment, and we can come back to that. But we're going to work on starting on the bottom again, here, because this is our corner, this is our corner. So we're going to start utilizing the bottom. And it's 1/4 inch, 2 inch, 4 inch, 2 inch, 1/4 inch. So it's very literally the same we just did, except we're going in a different direction. So I'm going to start down here, and I'm going to do the same thing where I'm going to start on my 2 inches, or on my 1 3/4 inch, and that's where my starting point is going to be. That way I can easily just go 1/4 inch up, which will bring me to 2 inches. Another 2 inches will get me to 4. 4 inches more will get me to 8, and then another 2 inches, and then another 1/4. Now, depending on your paper and how accurate it is, most paper is 8.5 inches wide. This box was designed to take up the entirety of that paper. However, sometimes the paper is a little bit larger, like it is in this instance. There is an extra 1/16 of an inch past, so you have to keep that in mind. Next thing you're going to do, just make sure it's on the video, you're going to again do the same thing over on the other side. So starting at the 1 3/4 inch mark, 2, 4, 8, 10, 1/4. And then all you're going to have to do is go through and connect all the lines. Being as accurate as possible to make sure that you're wanting to go directly through the center of those points. Now there's many ways to actually create those measurements instead of dots. If you are finding that your dots are very large and you're finding a lot of inaccuracies because of this, there are some other ways that you can do the measurements so that you know exactly where to make that measurement. Because if we look real quick, and I'll show you on another piece of paper here. If I create a measurement, let's say I'm measuring from 4 to 8, and I have that. Where is it on this thing? Is it on this side? Is it on this side, etc.? Especially if you happen to have something like this and like this, something like that. It's very difficult to tell where that mark was. So a way that we can do that without having to create giant dots or giant lines is to create a quick caret. And a caret is as simple as you put your pencil at the marking that you need to measure, and you make a line going one way, and then you come back to it and you go the other way. Now you know at that point that is where that measurement is accurate. Same thing up here, you can do the same thing. Make a little caret, and now you know that that line, wherever it comes from, is going to go directly through the point of that arrow. So that is your way of making things a little bit easier for yourself. Alright, so getting back to this, we have our corner again. Here's our square corner. We have our general layout. Here's our bottom, the 4 sides, as well as our hems. The next thing that we have to do is go back and look at our tabs. Here's our drawing. Tabs are right here, so that's where I'm going to put them. They are 3/4 of an inch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at my sides and say, okay, so I need to measure 3/4 of an inch this way from my side, so from here to here, 3/4 of an inch. And then I got to do the same thing down here, 3/4 of an inch. And then I can come over here and do the same, 3/4 and 3/4. And just like we did in the other one, we don't have to create a long line that goes through everything. We just want a quick line, like so, so that we have the top of our tab. We know that there's not going to be a point, and we know what we want to do with it. After this, it's really no measuring. All you're doing is connecting corners. Take as much time as you need to be accurate, because this is very important that all of these corners match up. So that's what you want that to look like. Sometimes on some of these drawings you're able to cheat a little bit and connect big corners all the way across and do multiple parts at once. If you're able to do that, great. Make sure that it's a square and that we're bisecting a 90-degree angle in order to get that 45-degree angle. And just create all of your extra angles, making sure not to forget any. And here's one left one. There you go. And that's what we're looking for. We have all of our tabs, hems, parts, sides, and bottom clearly created. The next step in this will be to scribe out our lines and cut it out and fold it and create the box itself. We will cover that in the next video.